Welcome back to another Leverloo Alpha vs Beta video game showdown. Part 1 set the precedence for what makes an alpha video gamer and what makes a beta male video gamer. Part 2, we added a bunch of your favorite games into the mix, and we saw where they racked and stacked on the list. This, backed by popular demand, is part 3. Today's video will include classics such as Uncharted, Friday the 13th, Pokemon, Nintendogs, The Last of Us, Just Dance, Fall Guys, and many more, so stick around to see if you're an alpha male gamer, a Chad gamer, or maybe on the lower end, a cringe or beta male gamer. First things first, we have the Uncharted series, and I've played none of them, but I've seen a lot of the gameplay from it. And I like it. It's puzzle solving. It seems kind of like Tomb Raider, but with a male protagonist and a little more of like family issues going on there. Like the wife and him argue a little bit. They do some things together. I think it's pretty good. I'm gonna put that at Chad gamer. I think it's a little overrated, and I think the new movie is hot garbage. And if you like it, your opinions are invalid. But I think it's, as a series of games, pretty good. Next up, we have Wii Fit Plus, which I've got to put at average. I really respect the people who utilize it. I even have a Wii Fit board right here. So as you can tell, I am very fit and I am very Wii Fit Plus active. Not legal for trade. Oh, interesting. If anyone wants this, I'm sorry you can't have it because it says not legal for trade. So I don't know how I would get it to you. But that aside, yes, the positives being that I think it's very fun. The negatives being I don't think you will actually get fit using it. I think you're better off just like walking around the block a couple of times. Just my opinion. Next up, we have Friday the 13th, which I think is both an incredible film franchise, at least the first half of the films, and an incredible video game. The only thing keeping it in the Chad section and not the alpha male section is the fact that the developers only really ever released like half of the content that they meant to release due to an unfortunate lawsuit. So I'm gonna put that in Chad gamer. I think Chad gamers play Friday the 13th. It had alpha male potential, but there's just not quite enough content. Next up, we have Resident Evil, which is a very interesting franchise, very gory. Personally, the gameplay is not super for me. I don't mind watching gameplay of it. I think it's pretty good. I really don't think it deserves alpha male, but it's not like cringy either. I've never encountered a Resident Evil fan who was intolerable. I'm gonna put that in Chad gamer, and I realize this is very uneven, but don't worry, we'll fix the bell curve as we go through the list. Next we have Pokemon. And you may be thinking, didn't you do Pokemon in like the first alpha versus beta male video games? No, that was Pokemon Go specifically. And those games are so different from each other and so culturally significant separately that I decided to make an exception to the one game represents the entire franchise rule. So this will represent the Pokemon games that are not Pokemon Go. My opinion on Pokemon is going to be unpopular, so I'd like to preface it by saying that I like Pokemon. Oh, this is... Okay, well this is a green Pokemon Game Boy Color case, but because it's green, my green screen is stroking out. Here you go. As you can see, I have a little Pokemon color. I like Pokemon. I think it's very fun to collect. I got silver, yellow, blue, red, another blue, sapphire, and I even have this weird Pocket Monsters Chinese knockoff I found at a garage sale. I don't dislike the Pokemon games themselves. I think they're good games. I think they're pretty good. My problem is there didn't need to be 72 of them. They're too similar for how many of them there are. People rat on Call of Duty for releasing 18 of the same game over and over again, but collect all the different Pokemon colors. I think the characters are lovable. I think the anime is fun. I think it's all lighthearted and fun. But again, do alpha males play Pokemon? I don't think alpha males play Pokemon. I think everyone plays Pokemon, except the very tops and the very bottoms of society. I think your average NPC plays Pokemon. So without a doubt, I have to put Pokemon as average NPC gameplay material. Next up, we have Nintendogs. Now, everyone has good memories with Nintendogs. As a game, it's objectively not very good. There's not a lot to it. Rating the game itself, we're rating the gamers of the game. And I think if you play Nintendogs, you have to at least be a Chad. You are loving, affectionate, you are responsible, and you're looking after a cute digital little dog. Those are all Chad character traits. This lack of bell curve is making me uncomfortable as well, so I'm hoping we'll fix this, but who knows? Next we have the Metroid series. I don't know a lot about Metroid, but I do know that every time I play Smash, I play as Dark Samus and I camp in the corner and just shoot my little like electric balls the entire time. So I have to respect it. I respect that it's not so in your face that everyone around me talks about it. I almost wish it were a little more though. I feel like I've never been pressured to play this game. I kind of respect what it is, but I feel like everyone knows about it, but no one really plays it. It's kind of that situation. So for that reason, I have to put it in NPC. I feel like if it was really Chad or alpha material, I would have encountered some Chad or alpha gamers in my time who would have recommended it to me. Next up, we have Until Dawn, which I played all the way through and thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a video game about a group of young adults who are in a cabin in the woods in like some snowy place, and things start happening, spooky things start happening, and honestly, I would recommend it. I think it's a good game. I really enjoyed it, and I normally don't enjoy linear story games, but I had a really good time playing it. But enough with the honest video game review, because that's not what we're here for. It's time to decide what type of people play these games. And like you just heard, I played it and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So now it's time for some deep introspection to decide, because I enjoyed this game. What type of person enjoys this game? What type of gamer am I? I figured it out. I'm not an alpha gamer. I'm not a Chad gamer, and I'm not an average NPC gamer. There's only one way to properly rank a game that I enjoy. We simply need to add a row. Sigma Gamer. Until Dawn is a Sigma Gamer video game. The type of people who play Until Dawn are Sigma gamers. Next up, we have a game called Phoenix Wright, which I have never played and I know nothing about, and I'm not really sure how it made it on this list. I believe it's about lawyers, anime lawyers who are trying to solve crimes, perhaps. So I'm gonna put that right here because I don't know anything about it. Next up, we have F-Zero. I wish I had played F-Zero. I really do. I've been trying. Don't think that I have not been trying. My copy of F-Zero X I bought at a garage sale about 8 years ago. I even put the custom side label on it so I would be able to know what game it was while it was in a shelf like this. Unfortunately, my N64 will not read this cartridge. That being said, I don't have experience with this game. I know that it's very well loved by its fans, and I know that maps from it are in other games, and those maps seem to play very well. So I do think it's probably a good game, but similarly to Metroid, I've never encountered an alpha or Chad gamer in the wild talking about F-Zero. I've never encountered much of anyone talking about F-Zero, and for that reason, I have to assume it's an average hive mind type of game, where everyone knows about it, but no one actually plays it. And you can't be an alpha or Chad level video game if no one plays the game. Next up, we have Little Nightmares, which I recently finished Little Nightmares 2 and had a great time playing it. I think gameplay-wise, it wasn't quite as gripping as the first one, because obviously it's hard to impress someone twice with the same mechanics. I think it added a lot to this story though, and I would recommend it. I think Little Nightmares is very much a Chad video game. I think it has enough spooky elements to kind of keep out some of the cringe beta males, but it's not so scary that you have to really be an alpha or sigma male to appreciate it. But I think it's a great game, and I would recommend it. We have Persona, the Persona series. Now, if you'd asked me a couple weeks ago if I like Persona, I'd say, what is that? What's a Persona? I don't know. Not for me. Beta, in fact. But I recently attended a video game convention where I got to meet one of the characters from Persona. Got to meet the cat creature. In the few moments that cat creature embraced me, I'd never felt so powerful. And then when I returned to the stand of the cat creature was gone. It had disappeared. The only logical conclusion is that that cat creature passed its power onto me. In doing so, I became even more of an alpha gamer. For that reason, I think the lowest I can rank Persona is in the Chad gamer tier. I think it's not talked about enough for how powerful that cat creature is. Next up, we have Hitman, the Hitman series. And there's only one way I can phrase this. Would you like to roleplay as a sad, bald man? But when I play an RPG, I always play as a male. I realize that's controversial, but I am a male. And I like to throw myself into the story. Now, there are some men who will argue that if you have the chance to stare at a female character while playing, why would you not? That's the true alpha mindset, right? I disagree. I think it depends what you're expecting from the experience. But neither of those viewpoints, either way, neither of those perspectives accounts for why would you want to stare at the back of a bald man's head the entire time. I've only played enough Hitman to know that you spend a lot of time staring at the back of a bald man's head. And for that reason, cringe gamer. Next up we have Dark Souls. The first Dark Souls game I played was Elden Ring. I played about 30 minutes of it. I wandered around and I got killed by the first boss I saw. And some people will argue that that game is so painful it's fun. I've been through many painful experiences in this life. Elden Ring wasn't even in the top 5, right? Like, Elden Ring isn't painful to play. There are many poorly made video games that you could say, well, they're painful to play, so they must be good. No. I think the Dark Souls series is a good series, but its fans are just completely unbearable. And because this tier list is mostly about the general associations you will have if you enjoy this game, the fan base, I have to put Dark Souls as a beta male video game. And if you like Dark Souls and you're not a beta male, you need to talk to y'all's people. You need to talk to your friends, you need to talk to the other people who play Dark Souls and tell them to stop being so gosh darn cringy. Next up we have Biomutant. I bought Biomutant the day it came out and I put it in my PS5 and I did not have a good time. It is not good. The art style is unbearable. The novelization narration is sad, cringy, and it feels really cheap, honestly. The voice acting is basically non-existent because it's narrated the entire time. The storyline is so generic that it's not really even a story. You can basically play that game with your brain shut off. And I want to put it in the beta male section, but the problem is I don't know if I've met anyone else who's played this game. So I don't even know what type of people like this game. I've never heard anyone else talk about it, like, naturally. I brought it up and people are like, oh yeah, that's that weird raccoon game, right? So I can't go any lower than cringe because I don't have a large enough sample size, but I am putting it in the cringe gamer department. Next up we have PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I watched a little bit of gameplay of this. I never really got into it. It struck me mostly as a PC thing, and I didn't really have a PC when this game was relevant. I remember it generated a lot of buzz, and the people who played it seemed to play it exclusively. I remember distinctly that the type of people who I would encounter in high school who were playing this game, that's all they played. And if you didn't play it, they were basically confused why you weren't a real gamer. I think people who play this game take it way too seriously, and I am so sick of seeing PUBG themed skits in 2022. Like, that game is dead. That game died 4 years ago. I don't actually know about 4 years ago, but like, stop bringing it into the current age. We're done with it. We moved on. For those reasons, I have to put PUBG in the cringe gamer department. If you're still playing PUBG, why? There's so many better games. Next up, we have Fall Guys. Now, I downloaded Fall Guys, not initially when it came out, but I mean, when it became, I think it was free on PlayStation at one point, and I downloaded it. And I get the appeal of playing a free game with people, like friends, and it's kind of like an arcadey game, but there's other games that do that better. One of which is even in this video coming up later on. I think Fall Guys is very shallow. I don't really understand how you could play it for more than like 30 minutes. I think the art style makes me want to vomit. Like, I just don't like it at all. I think if you're still playing Fall Guys in the current day, You're not even cringe, you're just beta. Like you're no better than the people who are playing Dark Souls thinking, oh, it's fun because it's hard. Fall Guys is the opposite end of the pendulum. Equally bad is, oh, games don't need substance, games don't need story, games don't need graphics, just like wiggle your guy around. It's all luck. Bad. Next up we have Just Dance. I've had some good times playing Just Dance. I think Just Dance, DDR, and there's a couple other, I believe, but they're all kind of the same idea, and I think they're a good time. I don't think you can play them for a very long time and have fun with them, but it's kind of similar vibes to like Wii Sports Resort in my mind. It's like you're in a living room and maybe you have company over and you're like 13 to 16 and you want to play a game that doesn't require a lot of time commitment because maybe dinner will be done soon. So you throw in DDR or a game similar to it. And I think it's a really good time. Even though I enjoy it, I have to recognize that it isn't a full gaming experience, as it were. And it's really hard to stereotype the people who like this game because like everyone has played and likes this type of game. And if everyone plays it and it's very kind of like, I have to put in an average NPC. Everyone knows what Just Dance is and everyone enjoys it. No one loves it, no one hates it. It's okay. So average NPC game. Next up we have Mafia. Now, if you're not familiar, Mafia is a game kind of like GTA in that you explore a city, it has firearms, it has cars, it has Playboy magazines in it. Young, like 13-year-old me discovered that and thoroughly enjoyed it. If you haven't played the Mafia series, it oftentimes goes on sale as a collective on PlayStation. And I would definitely recommend it. I think it's a really good time. You get to listen to like that 50s, 60s music on your radio as you're driving down in the street in a classic car. You get to join a mafia, honestly, and it's just a really good time. I would recommend it. I don't know if I've ever encountered anyone who has played the Mafia series and ranks it in their top 5, but everyone who's played it recognizes that it's a very good game. I think the reason it's not talked about more is because, unlike GTA, it never really tried to be this massive multiplayer world-dominating franchise. That's not really what it wanted to do. It focused more on a very specific niche, and I think that niche is extraordinarily alpha. You can't tell me that carrying a Tommy gun while smoking a cigar and blasting up an enemy family in the Mafia is an alpha. Mafia is definitely going into the alpha male video game category. Next up, we have Peggle. And if you haven't played Peggle, I don't know why not. It is a great time. It's basically a pachinko machine, but digital and with a few like added powers thrown in and different game modes. It's fun, it's exciting. I think you would be hard pressed to find someone who can't get several hours of enjoyment out of it. Particularly like about it is that it's extraordinarily fun to watch as well. I think if you throw Peggle on a TV and you have a few friends over, even if they don't start out intrigued by the game, they'll sit down and cheer you on eventually. I don't think it's discussed enough for how popular it is, and I think it's a Chad game through and through. Next up, we have Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, I haven't played Five Nights at Freddy's, but I did play a game called Chico's Family Friendly Circus Adventure, something like that. And it's basically a Five Nights at Freddy's ripoff. I'll put a little annotation to where you can watch me playing it up above my head right now. But I had a good time playing it. I understand the mechanics of that type of game. I respect the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise for the way they gripped an audience through storytelling, not even exclusively gameplay. I think it's very masterfully done, and I've heard good things about the upcoming game, but the arrow in the knee is that the fan base for this game is just intolerable. If you are wearing a Five Nights at Freddy's shirt in public, there's no way you don't have stains all over it. Because of how much I respect the franchise, I'm not putting it in the beta male category, but it has to go in the cringe gamer category. Last but not least, we have The Last of Us. Again, I have to talk about The Last of Us as a multi-game title because there's The Last of Us and there's The Last of Us Part 2. I didn't play Part 2, and I've played about a third to a half of Part 1, but I've played that half like 3 times. I keep getting like halfway through and just kind of losing interest, which is probably blasphemy to people who love the game. I'm not saying it's a bad game, I'm not saying it's boring. It's just not generally the type of game I enjoy. I think the graphics are pretty good on it. I think the storytelling is done well. It's not too fast, it's not too slow. Honestly, the opening of the first game, the first time I watched it, if I'm remembering correctly, I think it made my eyes water a little bit. That is a very strong way to start a game. I think the world that it builds is impressive. Like you understand the motivation behind the characters. However, and there's always a however, I do not think the game is groundbreaking. I don't think the game deserves as much hype as it gets. The amount of times I've seen people put The Last of Us in their top 5 or even top 3 video games makes me feel like it should pack a bigger punch than it does. And eventually, when I play through the entire game, maybe I'll understand it. But because it's so overhyped, I have to put it in average NPC. And there you go. That is my tier maker cringe beta versus Chad alpha male video game tier list. Thank you so much for watching part 3. The last one got over 6 million likes in less than 30 days. That's why we made part 3. If this video gets over 6 million likes in 20 days, we'll make a part 4. However, I'm running out of titles, so I'm gonna need some comments below telling me what titles to rank and stratify in part 4 if a part 4 comes. Until then, like, subscribe, comment about how much you do or don't like the blackness that is my green screen. I'm been debating if I should put like a beach back there or just not even use a green screen. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one.